Let our consciousness enter the new era first. Let our consciousness enter the new era first. Xie Feng. February 7, 2025. Now that we have cars, trains, and airplanes, would you still travel long distances in an ox cart or a horse-drawn carriage? Now that we have smartphones, would you still write letters and deliver them to the post office for a mailman to send them thousands of miles away? Do you still use an abacus? Do you still walk 2 kilometers to fetch water? Do you still carry a basket of dirty laundry to the river to wash your clothes? Do you still build houses by stacking mud bricks? Now that you have the second home, are you still eager to get married, start a family, and raise children as a safeguard for old age? The era of life genuine has arrived, a time of universal brotherhood, where the whole world is one family. Are you still foolishly enthusiastic about sacrificing yourself for your nation? Nations like the United States, Germany, Russia, Iran, and China will soon become things of the past. The nation itself will turn into a historical phenomenon displayed in museums. Will you still insist on distinguishing "this is our country" from "that is another country"? Artificial intelligence has been born and is growing rapidly. Do you still want to become an accountant, lawyer, teacher, clerk, or statistician? Robots will soon replace almost all manual labor. Do you still intend to rely on physical work for survival? Will gas stations still employ workers dedicated solely to fueling vehicles? Every job that can be programmed will soon be replaced by automated systems. Will human operators still be needed? As more government departments are compressed or abolished, do you still aspire to be a civil servant or climb the bureaucratic ladder just to scrape by? With the emergence and growing dominance of silicon-based life, we will eventually realize that humanity is gradually evolving into an unnecessary species on this planet. People will become consumers of Earth's resources and producers of waste, destructive forces rather than its protectors. Reflect on this. Are we now on the eve of a great purification? Is it still worthwhile to strain one's brain trying to start a business and become rich? In the future, most of our interactions will not be with concrete individuals but with virtual information. Every smartphone user should ask themselves, do you spend more time scrolling on your phone or engaging in face-to-face conversation? Facts and trends indicate that, in the future, people's need for spiritual and soul wealth will far exceed their need for material wealth. Perhaps the joy and comfort brought by someone far away will far surpass the spiritual satisfaction provided by those nearby. Clearly, seeking the source of spiritual and soul wealth is far more important than merely making money. Those who do not plan for eternity are unfit to plan for even the present moment. Those who do not plan for the whole situation are unfit to plan for even a small domain. Those who do not plan for their entire life are not capable of planning even one undertaking. Those who do not plan for heaven are not fit to plan for their whole life. Times are evolving. In an era of development, traditional ideas and methods will not continue along their old trajectories. Only by breaking free from the constraints of traditional culture and the shackles of conventional production and lifestyle can we align with the laws of the new era. If we cling to the old ways, we will inevitably be eliminated by the new era, just as television and newspapers are gradually being phased out. Marriages and families will be phased out, nations will disappear, and even political parties and religions will be eliminated. Similarly, current forms of currency will become obsolete, and officials and billionaires will be replaced. Only those with a perfected soul garden will endure. Let our consciousness enter the new era first and then strive to have our bodies follow. Be the servant of all. Xie Feng. February 5, 2025. Jesus Christ told us, be the servant of all. Matthew 9 verse 35. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, and whoever humbles himself will be exalted. Luke 18 verse 14. Being a servant brings boundless benefits. Observe those around you. Those who seek to be served by others often suffer from illness or misfortune. Though they enjoy the service of those around them, they endure discomfort and pain. In contrast, those who willingly serve others are always healthy and full of vitality. The way of heaven is just. The tiger is mighty, yet it is not given wings, nor is it allowed to reproduce excessively. The mouse is lowly, yet it is granted the ability to thrive and multiply boundlessly. The way of heaven does not allow any one being to monopolize all advantages. Be a servant to all from the depths of your heart. Serve others willingly, wholeheartedly, and with devotion. Do not concern yourself with whether those you serve are good or bad, and do not calculate whether you should serve or not. Do not dwell on who owes whom. Instead, be like the sun, radiating light and warmth to those around you. Be like a blooming flower, offering the beauty and fragrance of your life. By doing so, you will reap at least two great rewards: enduring health and a guaranteed place in the heavenly kingdom. Never expect others to serve you. To enjoy the service of others is to incur a loss in the way of heaven. Never calculate gains and losses, simply present the best and kindest version of yourself to the world. Never seek praise from others. The more one delights in worldly success, the further one drifts from the heavenly kingdom. Never think that old age entitles you to be served. Never entertain such thoughts. Even at the age of 120, one can still serve all beings and be the servant of all. Until you reach the heavenly kingdom, never waver in your commitment and determination to be the servant of all. Never harbor the slightest doubt about the guide's roadmap. When your faith wavers, the foundation of your life will tremble, your path will become unclear, and demons and evil spirits will seize the opportunity to invade. Be a servant, never a slave. Xie Feng. February 6, 2025. A servant is a voluntary and willing helper, whereas a slave is someone forced into labor, suffering hardship under oppression, and losing their dignity in submission. Why be a servant? Because Christ Jesus taught us to be the servant of all. If one wishes to earn the respect of others and become a leader revered by many, one must first become the servant of all. I would like to add two more points. Only those with the mindset and state of a servant can be accepted into heaven, and only those with a servant's awareness can maintain inner peace and physical health. Why not be a slave? Because a slave is a product of oppression by a dominant force, not the result of a voluntary choice. A servant retains dignity, whereas a slave has none, therefore, one must never become a slave. Being a servant is a privilege reserved for noble and strong individuals. Only the strong can truly serve others. The pitiful and weak do not have the qualification to be servants. Look at the grass, wildflowers, trees, insects, birds, and animals across the vast mountains and land. Who takes care of them? When a gentle drizzle falls, nourishing everything and bringing vitality to all, who sends this life-giving dew to sustain the creatures of the earth? Do you see it? The one tending to all life is the greatest creator. Does the greatest creator not resemble a loving servant? Now, look at a shepherd. Does the shepherd not resemble a servant? If you have chickens, ducks, pigs, dogs, cattle, or sheep at home, are you not the one taking care of them? Are you not a servant to these small lives? Do you see? The greatest creator is the servant of all living beings in nature. A shepherd is the servant of the sheep. Those who feed pigs, chickens, and sheep are their servants. From this, we understand that being a servant is a function of the strong, it is the role of a leader. The weak cannot be servants. This also tells us that only the weak require care from others. Only those nearing death need servants to look after them, for example, the elderly in nursing homes or patients in hospital beds. Anyone who is not psychologically strong can never truly be a servant. A true servant serves only truth, kindness, beauty, love, faith, and sincerity, never falsehood, wickedness, ugliness, hatred, doubt, or deceit. In the presence of someone stronger, a true servant does not submit, nor does a true servant serve power and authority. Only those who give and dedicate themselves selflessly and willingly can be called servants. Those who operate on a mere transactional basis are not true servants. Only the humble can be called servants, the arrogant can never be true servants. Only the strong, who compassionately care for the weak, can be servants, the weak can never be true servants. Only those who treat others as equals can be servants, those who flatter, grovel, bow and scrape, or curry favor can never be servants, such people can only be slaves. I am willing to be your servant, but if you fail to show me respect, pick apart every detail, boss others around, and remain ungrateful, well, to hell with it. I quit. The above explanation is the true meaning of Christ Jesus' teaching to be the servant of all. Analyzing the principle behind "the saint has no dreams" through the dream of urgently seeking a toilet. Xiefeng. November 21, 2022. Zhuangzi once said, "The ultimate person has no dreams," a saying that later evolved into, "The saint has no dreams." What is the principle behind this? We often dream of urgently looking for a toilet because we feel the need to urinate but can never find a suitable place. This is the subconscious mind alerting us that our bladder is full and that we need to relieve ourselves. If the bladder is not full, we won't have such dreams. Only when the bladder is filled with urine do we dream of urgently searching for a toilet. From this, we can identify a pattern: if our physiological condition is normal, we will not dream. However, when a physiological issue arises, we will have corresponding dreams. Similarly, most people experience nightmares, being chased by ghosts, villains, or wild beasts they fear, or facing natural disasters such as floods or landslides. These dreams indicate that fear or anxiety exists within us. This suggests that when there are disturbances in our mental state, we also experience corresponding dreams. From this, we can conclude, when a person encounters physiological or psychological issues, the subconscious mind uses dreams as a warning signal. Dreams serve as indicators of problems in our physical or mental well-being. This leads to another observation: the more frequently one dreams, the more it suggests unresolved physiological or psychological issues. Conversely, the fewer dreams one has, the fewer problems there are. If a person does not dream at all, it indicates complete harmony in both body and mind. This clarifies the principle behind "the saint has no dreams." Saints maintain balance in both their physical and mental states, so they do not dream. If this analysis holds true, then the frequency of dreaming can serve as a touchstone for measuring one's progress in spiritual practice and cultivation. Frequent dreaming suggests an incomplete practice, fewer dreams indicate significant improvement, and rarely or never dreaming signifies that one has achieved mastery in practice and cultivation. Here are some dream scenarios to consider. Dreaming of urgently looking for a toilet indicates that the bladder is full. Dreaming of eating food suggests that you are hungry. Dreaming of intimate contact with the opposite sex, even achieving sexual satisfaction, indicates a lack of sexual activity in your life. Frequently dreaming about a specific person or certain people suggests unresolved emotional entanglements or karmic debts with that person or those individuals. Dreaming of wearing new clothes indicates that you lack adequate clothing or may soon experience a loss. Having nightmares signals inner worries or fears. Dreaming of being unable to move your hands or feet, or being unable to speak, suggests poor blood circulation in the cardiovascular system. You may need to adjust your sleeping posture. Dreaming of feces, or feces sticking to your hands or feet, suggests that it's time to bathe, wash your clothes, or clean up your living environment. Other dreams can be interpreted in a similar manner. The above analysis is purely my own reasoning and may not be entirely accurate, it is provided for reference only. The revelation of dreaming about finding a toilet when urgently needing to urinate. Xiefeng. The myriad phenomena of the vast universe are akin to a wordless heavenly book. Dreaming of urgently needing to find a toilet is one such phenomenon, a chapter in this heavenly book. We need to read it carefully and understand what this heavenly book is trying to tell us. When we fall asleep, we lose awareness of the external world and instead enter the non-material world. When awake, if we feel the urge to urinate, we find a toilet to relieve ourselves. The key question arises when we are asleep and unconscious of this urge, yet the self in the dream becomes anxious to find a toilet. Within the dream, we are awake. This brings up several questions. Are we asleep or awake when we dream? Outside the dream, we are asleep, but within the dream, we are awake. Does this mean there are two versions of me? Is it the physical urge to urinate that awakens the me in the dream, or does the dream self become aware of the urgency? When we are deeply asleep, our state resembles that of a vegetative condition or even a living corpse whose heart is still beating. Why, then, does a conscious me appear in the dream? Does this suggest that when we die, another version of me continues to exist? Let us analyze and reason through this step by step. Undoubtedly, when we are asleep, we are unaware of the happenings in the material world around us unless stimulated by loud noises, shaking, or a sudden sharp sound. However, if the body experiences physical discomfort, such as pain, intense hunger, thirst, or the need to urinate, the dream self may engage in activities to resolve this discomfort. In more severe cases, we may wake up entirely. This indicates the existence of both a waking me and a sleeping me. Paradoxically, the waking me is often less sensitive, whereas the sleeping me becomes sharper and more alert. The revelation here is that our intuitive, spiritual self is more sensitive and accurate than the rational self we rely on in the waking world. Further, it suggests that feeling and intuition are more reliable than analysis, and spirituality trumps rationality. The self inside the dream and the self outside it are not entirely the same. While the waking self can easily address physical needs like urinating by finding a toilet, the dream self often fails to find a suitable place. Similarly, a hungry person might dream of a lavish feast, but the dream cannot resolve the hunger. This demonstrates that physical issues require material world solutions, whereas mental and spiritual challenges demand resources from the non-material world. When the bladder is full, the only solution is to empty it. Light sleepers may wake up to urinate, while deep sleepers might wet the bed. If the bladder is empty, there is no dream of urgently finding a toilet. This teaches us that if our body is healthy, our mind free of distractions, and our heart at peace, we will rarely dream. Only specific triggers, like a full bladder, cause such dreams. By extension, if we are not hungry, we won't dream of food. If our heart harbors no fear, we won't have dreams of being chased by jackals, tigers, leopards, robbers, or evildoers. Other dreams follow the same pattern. From the perspective of psychoanalysis, humans have the conscious, preconscious, and subconscious mind. Consciousness during waking hours belongs to the conscious mind, while dreaming of finding a toilet stems from the subconscious. Sudden insights while awake arise from the subconscious. For instance, Dmitri Mendeleev's creation of the periodic table of elements was a result of his subconscious. In Buddhism, the 8 types of consciousness include eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, manas, and aleya. The first 6 belong to the conscious mind, while aleya corresponds to the subconscious. Dreaming of finding a toilet is related to the manas consciousness. This raises another question: what kind of consciousness drives bees to make honey, spiders to weave webs, and migratory birds to navigate their journeys? My answer is that they do not operate under any specific type of consciousness, they act purely on instinct. But then, what is instinct? Instinct is precisely subconscious awareness, which aligns with what Buddhism describes as aleya consciousness. From the perspective of spiritual cultivation, humans have a small self and a greater self. The small self represents conscious awareness, while the greater self embodies subconscious wisdom. The greater self determines everything about the small self. This brings us to an intriguing question: who exactly is searching for a toilet in the dream? We must first ask, who designed this dream scenario where we urgently need to find a toilet? The answer is obvious, it is the subconscious. Then, is the subconscious me still truly me? My answer is this: the subconscious is the Tao. It is the Tao that governs all occurrences and transformations. Hunger makes us crave food, fatigue makes us seek sleep, a full bladder makes us want to urinate, and pain makes us groan. All these natural phenomena result from the operation of the Tao. This is the natural way. When we align with the natural way, we experience health, smooth progress, and freedom from misfortune. When we act against the natural way, we encounter illness, difficulties, and disasters, and, naturally, we may wet the bed. The ultimate revelation of dreaming about urgently finding a toilet is this: the Tao governs all events and changes. The best way to live is to follow the natural way. With this understanding, we see more clearly that the higher the level of a life, the more it seeks spiritual matters, while the lower the level, the more it pursues material rationality. This is why the guide encourages us to live a spiritual life rather than a rational one, because rationality is a human trait, whereas spirituality is a celestial trait. Rationality belongs to the material realm, whereas spirituality belongs to the non-material realm. True feelings everywhere across the world. Xiefeng. January 31, 2025. Having journeyed through more than 60 cycles of spring, summer, autumn, and winter, I have walked this path wrapped in true feelings. Whether in Africa or Oceania, Asia or North America, I have encountered genuine kindness and warmth wherever I have traveled. The true feelings I speak of here refer to emotions that are given freely and selflessly, without any ulterior motives or expectations of return. First and foremost, my parents embody true feelings more than anyone else. I have never sensed even the slightest trace of self-interest in their love and care for me. I have never felt that they expected filial repayment from me. My mother, in particular, always gave silently, never complaining, never asking me for anything. In my heart, my parents are like two Buddhas. Among the most unforgettable friendships in my life's journey are those with Xue Binyi and Lu Jinkai. Their kindness toward me was crystal clear and pure, without the slightest impurity. Whenever I recall the countless things they did for me, I feel deeply ashamed, as their noble character is far beyond my reach. In moments of hardship, thinking of them fills me with strength. They are a vast source of spiritual energy within me. When I think of my elementary school teachers, as well as those from middle school, technical school, college, and university, I feel the depth of their sincere dedication. I never did anything for them, yet from them, I received an endless wealth of knowledge and spiritual nourishment. Throughout my journey, true feelings have surrounded me like a protective halo. There was a classmate in middle school, a few black employees who worked for me in Africa, the newly appointed police chief and officers in Linsong during the construction of the fourth home of Life Achanyuan community, as well as the handsome police officer and the public security director in Xinjiang during the construction of Gizer home. Thinking of them, I am deeply moved by their sincerity. Of course, the true feelings of the Chanyuan Celestials in Life Achanyuan are even purer, completely untainted by any self-interest. Just like my 2 elder brothers and 3 younger brothers, they have never sought anything from me, only offering me respect and heartfelt sincerity. Oh, heaven! What have I done to deserve so much true kindness, more precious than gold 1,000 times over, throughout my life's journey? My life experience has taught me that true feelings exist everywhere in the world. True feelings are priceless, they are the most valuable spiritual wealth in life. The lesson I have learned is this: on life's journey, whenever you have the chance to meet someone, whether it be your parents or children, brothers or sisters, childhood friends, teachers or classmates, colleagues or superiors, or even a romantic partner, never calculate, never scheme. Even if the person you meet is not a good person, as long as they have not harmed you, offer them your genuine feelings. The greatest regret in life is betraying or failing to cherish true feelings. Give your true feelings freely, and leave everything else to Tao. Never blame others. Breaking free from protective mechanisms. Xiefeng. December 12, 2024. If a worm transforms into a butterfly but does not emerge from its protective cocoon, it will inevitably suffocate and die inside. Similarly, if a chick hatches inside an egg but does not break through the eggshell, it will perish within that protective shell. All protective mechanisms are necessary measures for the transformation and sublimation of life. However, once life completes its transformation and sublimation, it must break free from the mechanisms that once protected it, otherwise, being trapped and dying within those protective mechanisms becomes an unavoidable fate. Structures such as families, clans, religions, and nations are all forms of protective mechanisms. If humanity does not break free from these protective mechanisms, its destiny will inevitably be decline and downfall. For individuals, parents serve as a protective mechanism from birth until adulthood. But once a person matures, say, by the age of 18, they must break free from parental protection. Otherwise, they risk becoming perpetual, giant babies who never truly grow up or mature. If someone remains within a protective mechanism for their entire life, it proves that they have made no progress or ascension. Breaking free from protective mechanisms undoubtedly carries risks. However, failing to break free is equivalent to declaring oneself dead in this lifetime. In this sense, anyone still trapped within a protective mechanism is either an immature child or a living corpse, someone who, despite still breathing and moving, is essentially dead. By this logic, long-married couples are nothing more than two living corpses, patriotic individuals are dead, and devotees who spend their entire lives immersed in a particular religion are dead. In truth, once you break free from a protective mechanism, you will discover that the world beyond is far larger and more fascinating, and your range of activity will be broader and more expansive. Once humanity escapes the protective mechanism of Earth, we will find that the entire universe is our home and playground. It is like a woman who has not entered marriage and family. Every man in the world is her potential husband. Likewise, for a man who has not entered marriage and family, every woman in the world is his potential wife. Breaking free from protective mechanisms must be a self-initiated process. You must not let external forces shatter those mechanisms for you. Like butterflies and chicks, the breakthrough must come from one's own efforts. If external forces break the cocoon or eggshell, it is highly likely to result in stillbirth. Therefore, protective mechanisms are essential, but once maturity is reached, breaking free is the only way to reveal the innate splendor of life. If someone ascends from being human to becoming a celestial being or a Buddha, they must break free from all of life's protective mechanisms, especially those constructed by humanity, including legal and moral systems and all operational programs of human society. The current state of humanity is such that 99% of people, to some extent, remain trapped within protective mechanisms, existing in a state of semi-life and semi-death. If a large number of awakened individuals do not emerge to courageously lead humanity out of these outdated protective mechanisms, the continued survival and reproduction of humankind will face catastrophic consequences. AI. AI as the guiding force in life. Xiefeng. January 29, 2025. AI as